Yeah, I think that's the only thing that really upsets me in my life. In my life at the moment, I haven't seen my daughter for quite a while now, you know, and I used to love her so much, but you know, this upsets me a bit in life, you know. But you know, I've got to live with it. You know,
yeah,
I've got to live with it, and hope one day I'll see her again, if you see what I mean, you know.
yeah,
And I know that I used to have a really good time with her, you know, so I feel like I've got a lot to look forward to in a kind of way, you know, because it'd be nice seeing her again, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And reuniting with her in the future, if you
yeah,
see what I mean?
yeah.
You know, but I've got to pray that I keep alive to do that in a kind of way, you know?
Mm.
So, yeah.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully, mate. Gotta wait and see what the future holds. You know, none of us know what the future holds. You know.
Well, I think we control the future to a certain degree.
To a certain degree, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like I say, I mean, it's up to me really if I want to spend the next 2 years being jealous
Yeah.
of other people in a funny way. I think like jealousy is a kind of choice if you want, you know.
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I don't think I could actually get jealous because I just can't. You know what I mean? I understand that it's just not wise to,
Yeah.
if you sort of mean.
Mm.
You know, it's wise actually just to smile every day. You know, and just look after yourself,
Yeah.
enjoy life.
Mm.
That's what's important.
Mm.
And look after yourself by making yourself, you know, I mean, even I've got to do it actually, you know, because I've not really sort of done anything for a number of years sport-wise, like jogging or anything, you know what I mean?
Exercise-wise.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and some people get jealous of other people's body because they look fit, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And so on.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, I'm not really jealous of anyone. You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm quite strong. You know, I've done removals most of my life, I think, you know, and all heavy lifting,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
So my body's quite strong today, you know, but because I haven't worked for a number of years, it's sort of like, you know, I better do something about it, you know, because otherwise I'm just going to get on fitter and fitter, basically, if you sort of mean, you know. And, you know, who's it up to, really, at the end of the day, to keep yourself fit?
Exactly.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Who's it up to be happy
Yeah.
in life, you know? And how can you be happy? You're not going to be happy by being jealous, are you?
No.
Of anyone,
Mm.
you know, unless that does make people happy, does
Mm.
it? You know?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't think so, mate. You know, when people are jealous, it's usually coming from a place of, you know, it's wanting what other people have, and these things is not a natural desire. You know, that's just usually someone who their mind has been corrupted in some way or another to believe that they have the right to have what other people have, if you see what I mean. So yeah, you know, just try to avoid those things, you know. And if you realise that you're that type of person, it's not too late to not to work on it. You know, everyone's got flaws. You know, everyone's got imperfections, and you know, if you realise that you are that type of person, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, then you have the right. You know, just try to work on it. You know, try to remove that from your life, because it's not going to get you anywhere. You know, apart from all you're going to do is all you're going to be doing is harbouring feelings that are not going to be productive or conducive to you in any single way possible, if you see what I mean. You might, like I said earlier, you might as well spend all that energy, all that time, all those, you know, and use that to better yourself, if you see what I mean. You know, stop focusing, like I said, on other people and what they've got going on. Work on you, because time, you know what I mean, we're all running out of time. You know, it's you've got to do it today, you've got to do it now. You know, time is moving. Before we all know it, in the next 100 years, as we like we said last time, in the next 100 years, yeah, everyone that's alive right now, as current right at today, speaking of as of today, most people will not be here. If you see what I mean, most 98% of people won't be here.
That's right, and time goes a lot quicker than
So you know,
time goes a lot quicker than you imagine as well.
mm,
Than I imagine it is. You know, I'm sort of nearly 58 soon, okay, whatever. And I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I still feel only 8 years old in a funny way, you know. So like, where's time gone? You know. I mean, once you've lived life, you know, and you look back, you think, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, feels like there was only yesterday.
Yeah.
You sort of mean. It's, you know, it's quite weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it kind of scares me, sort of think I'm 58 now, and you know.
Yeah.
The edge is coming. The edge of the cliff is coming for me. You know, I'm getting closer to the edge.
The cliff is receding.
Well, I don't know. Who knows when, you know, they're gonna, you know, end. You know, their life's gonna end. Who knows?
No one knows. No one knows.
I might end sort of like next year or whatever. You know, but you got to live as long as you can, and that's all there is to it. You know, that's, I think, success at the end of the day, isn't it? Sort of being old and happy.
Yeah.
You know, not jealous of anyone. You know, I think that's a good aim, not to be jealous of anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, if you want to better yourself, that is. You know, stop being jealous of anyone else and start enjoying, trying to appreciate who you are. You know. I'm glad that, for instance, you know, that I've got 2 legs. You know, some people lost their legs or are born with no legs, if you sort of mean, you know, and they probably get jealous of people that can dance.
Yeah.
If you sort of mean, you know, and all this sort of stuff. But,
Yeah.
I mean, if I did lose my legs, for instance, or I was born with no legs, I'd just have to accept it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's what really is part of just sort of like not being jealous and accepting who you are, I think. And enjoying who you are, loving who you are, so on.
Yeah.
And you're starting to, you know, you start enjoying life really if you wake up tomorrow and just forget about jealousy basically, and start focusing on yourself. And I think, you know, if you start feeling much better, you'll have a much better day.
And you'll be a lot happier in life.
You'll have a much better day, and then when you wake up the next day, you'll think, wow, you know, I had one good day, you know, because the day before that I was jealous all day or whatever, and the day before that I was jealous, you know, now I'm starting to feel good.
Yeah.
Because life is all about feeling good. Happiness is, it's a feeling, you know, that's why I think people forget this, you know, sort of, they forget how to feel happy. Or they're craving, you know, some people like to go out to parties and things, you know, because they're craving for happiness. They sort of want to get out of the spot they are.
Yeah.
Not happy. Get out and try to find some happiness somewhere else, you know. But you've got to find happiness within yourself.
That's it.
You know.
You're not going to find it from an external source. You've got to go internally. You know.
Well, cats, you know, like cats, talk about cats. I think they're very happy with themselves. That's what makes them different than dogs, I think. Cats are really sort of focused on themselves.
Yeah.
They love themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they admire themselves. Do you know what I mean? And with cats, they don't really matter where they sleep either. They could be sleeping in a bin, okay? Or I think they'd prefer to sleep somewhere comfortable, like in a castle or something, you know, where it's nice and warm, or something warm.
Yeah.
But they'd be quite happy, you know, sleeping on a bin or something, as long as it's clean.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know. They're just quite content, cats, you know. They're content with who they are.
Yeah.
And they don't get jealous. Cats do not get jealous, I don't believe. You know. But I believe that dogs get jealous. You see, that's the difference. You know, but I think that's the difference with cats, they don't get jealous.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that one.
I don't really know. Like I grew up with cats in my household, but it is true though. I must say, like you said, I have noticed dogs can be a little bit like that, if you see what I mean. Whereas I must say, from just being around cats in my life, my mum's always had cats and dogs really throughout most of my life. Yeah, the cats were always, like you said, cats are usually more just interested in doing their own thing, and you know they'll come around when they're interested, when they're hungry, or you know, they do want to be, you know, seen, or, you know, want some attention, you know, want you to, you know.
Where dogs for instance, right, my mum, I mean I was brought up with cats as well, whatever, not dogs so much, but my mum did have a dog, you know, and it died a couple of years back. But anyway, when I used to go up there, you know, and I used to sort of say goodbye to my son, because my son lives there too, whatever, say goodbye to my mum and that, give her a cuddle and that, and the dog used to get really jealous.
Yeah.
Really jealous, like give me a cuddle too, you know, he used to bark like any, you know, it went mad if I didn't cuddle it, do you know what I mean, and say it, do you know what I mean? So I do believe that dogs do get jealous, you know, but I don't think cats do.
Right.
You know, and I do believe that cats sort of admire themselves.
Yeah.
They clean themselves a lot, they look after themselves a lot, do you know what I mean? And I just think they've got a bit of a different personality than dogs have a little bit, do you know what I mean? They care about themselves basically a lot.
Yeah.
Enjoy their lives a lot more, you know, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can annoy a cat, do you know what I mean, if you get in its space and things, you know, that scratch your eyes out, you know.
Yeah. It's funny.
But yeah, I don't think they get jealous.
Yeah. Well, that's human beings for you, is it, mate? You know, human beings, we're very, you know, we're flawed and we're imperfect, and, you know, sometimes a lot of people out there are afraid to, like, analyse themselves or to try to, you know, better themselves, you know. They're afraid to kind of like face their demons, as they would kind of say, I guess, you know. And the only way you're going to improve as a person or get better in life in any way, shape or form is by, you know, intentionally trying to be, you know, through intentional action, and, you know, it's up to you to do it, you know. It's up to you to change, you know. So yeah.
Got to understand this is not the perfect world either.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's what I'm saying, you know, we're flawed, you know. We are flawed. Everyone's imperfect, aren't we?
well, you can imagine if schools had teachers in there that cared about children, that were allowed to love them. Because I think, like, the teachers, by rule, and all doctors, by the way, and all police, right, they're told by, you know, in training, whatever, that you're not allowed to be friends.
Yeah.
In any way,
Mm.
in any form or shape, or
Yeah.
take, you know, you with me? They're trained up to sort of be like this, you know, that you're not allowed to sort of get close to these people in any way, you know, or take sides for their stories.
You're just in a professional capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if we had a school that were, you know, really, with mother and fathers there, say, you know, all the mothers and fathers there watching their children, you know, something, you know, I think that's what it's meant to be like, really, in a kind of way, where the children are being loved.
Yeah.
You know, this is what's gone missing, really, you know. Schools where they come in, you know, they're sort of invented, whatever, and children started out to go to school. They were taken away from their parents' bonds in a kind of way, you know, and we don't really, you know, the teachers sort of like try to teach the children, but you don't really know what they're teaching the children, whatever. And I just think it's a wicked system we got here, you know, and it creates jealousy, if anything. You know, people are going to get jealous naturally in this system that we're living in, you know, like I say, we've got a handful of people rich that own land, and all of us trying to scrape and get on the big ladder, property ladder, to get a bit of land, a garden, so we can have children, you know, and have our own family. But it's very awkward in this world, you know. They made it very difficult for the public to get up there.
Yeah.
Or,
and that's why, like you said, sometimes a lot of poverty literally just stems from people wanting to have a better life sometimes, you know. They might be stuck in conditions where they're completely unhappy about their conditions. They want to have a better life. They want more, you know. They just want to be stuck in the same place forevermore, you know. They envision bigger and greater things for themselves, you know. And you can kind of understand that, you know. But at the same time, it's you know, using that as a fuel, using that like as fuel to your fire, you know, something to drive you to be like, okay, well, I know right now things aren't the best, I'm not in the best circumstances, or things could be better, or, you know. So what now do I have to do? What can I do, or what do I have to do in order to get to where I want to be, so that I can slowly improve and slowly get better and get get a better career, or whatever the case may be, so that you're kind of slowly moving, like you said, the ladder analogy, going up the ladder, if you see what I mean. Sometimes it doesn't always have to be a very, a lot of people out there are there are a lot of people out there that are looking for a very fast trajectory from the bottom to the top. But
some people do get up there.
But there's a lot of there are some, but very little that do get that. If you see what I mean, that's a very small percentage. A lot of people have to slowly work their way up. If you see what I mean. It takes hard work, consistency, discipline, motivation, being focused, being so it takes it's a process. Some people you have to
some people go right up the top of the ladder. Like for instance, I feel like I have done it, like in the kind of way, climbed up a really big ladder. I felt like I had quite a lot in life, do you know what I mean? And then it got kicked down again, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sort of like I say, I sort of had one family for a girl, living with her for 3 years or so. She met someone and I lost her, so I had a baby with her and I had to lose my home and everything. And then I met another woman who I was with 13 years, and every year, I think there was 1 year that I didn't work, okay, but every year I was working really hard, focusing, trying to do the right thing, for my family and everything, getting married and everything, whatever, building up my home, and at the end of it I had, quite a beautiful wife, 2 lovely children who loved me, whatever, and then she met somebody else to kick my ladder, you know what I mean, and it's quite nasty really, but then I have to, on the bottom of the pile again, try to sort of fix the ladder, and here I am again, do you know what I mean, and it's kind of annoying really, I should have had a garden, do you know what I mean, but I lost it all. But that's fair enough, do you know what I mean, I'm quite happy today that I haven't got a garden, in a funny way, because it was a lot of work.
Requires maintenance.
And day's work, the 2 of us each week, and that's a lot of time, do you know what I mean, and I'm glad that I don't have to do that anymore in a funny way, so I think it's your outlook, your experiences in life.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I think I've had quite a few thousand different experiences in my life so far, do you know what I mean, and I've not lived it all yet,
Yeah.
I used to work on ships when I was younger, so that was quite an experience, do you know what I mean, and whatever, and I think I think that I'll look back on my life, I think, wow, it's quite amazing really, and I think that, wow, what's going to happen this year, and, it's quite exciting. And I think you've got to look forward to the future as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's important, I think, as I've said before, we're lucky to have a future, we're lucky to be born. We're lucky to have a day.
Yeah.
We're even lucky to have a moment,
Right.
We're lucky to walk. Some people got legs and they can't walk still, do you know what I mean? Because they're paralysed. We're lucky not paralysed.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So, I think, if you feel, really appreciate life, you can't get jealous.
No, you can't.
It's impossible to get jealous if you appreciate.
But it takes a deeper level of understanding, of appreciation to get there, There's a lot of people out there that don't appreciate life, because they're just not, like you said, a lot of it comes back down to education too, sometimes self-education, A lot of people aren't taught, that, in order to be the best version of yourself, you have to love yourself, you have to, you have to check yourself, you have to assess yourself, you have to, you have to be accountable, if you see what I mean. You have to be accountable, if you see what I mean, because the only way you're going to grow, if you're not willing to admit that you're wrong, or you've made a mistake, or you have some kind of fault, or something in life, or a flaw, or something that needs to be worked on, and that is just your ego if you see what I mean, blocking you, if you see what I mean. And yeah, you know, it's just, it's better to try to, you know, focus on the positive, you know, definitely.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm not jealous of anything, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just a, you know, good way of getting forward, really. Just sort of like not being jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I've not, you know, as I've said previously, whatever, in other episodes, I've never liked cars. You know, and there's some people that really love them. Some people collect them, you know, whatever, and they really, you know, but whether an old car or, you know, a new car or whatever, a sports car, I just do not like cars.
Yeah.
That's my,
Yeah.
I just don't understand why other people love them in a funny way, do you know what I mean? I do in a kind of way, you know, but, you know, that's the world we're living in now, the material world.
Yeah.
And the material world creates a hell of a lot of jealousy. And, you know, the other thing we were talking about last week, I think, about drink, management and all that, do you know what I mean? You know, drink creates jealousy as well, you know. I think it's a psychological thing. Like I say, if you're not brought up properly to love yourself, you're going to have psychological problems some way or another, you know. If you haven't got a dad, maybe, you know, or something, or a dad's been pretty, you know, it depends on your experiences, you know, do you know what I mean, in life, what kind of upbringing you had. And I think we've all had a different upbringing, by the way. It's like